up, up, up. Psst, psst, psst. Up, up, up. This is Stinky. Stinky is my roommate for a little bit, and she is my absolute favorite. But hello, witchlings. It is your local chaotic witch on here. And today we are back with another video. Woo! Today's video is a video that has been highly requested. I'm also wearing my new favorite sweatshirt. It says witch. For some reason I find this very humorous. I'm gonna grab my phone. I have notes on my phone. Today we are talking about Diana. I am talking about her as someone who is devoted to her, who works with her, as well as talking about her and her epithets. I have my computer behind me. I have a full list of her epithets. And I'm going to talk about kind of like I'm making sure she doesn't knock that over. Hey, lady, get out of there. Ooh, okay, she didn't knock it over. I feel as though I get a lot of questions on Diana and also how she differs from Artemis, because I feel like there's a large section of people who consider them the same goddess, which I don't totally understand, but my opinion is that they are not the same, and I'm going to explain why with notes. So we're gonna start off with like my opinion on Diana, and then I'm gonna go into my experience working with her and the importance of her to my practice. So starting off with my opinions of Diana, I do not consider Diana and Artemis the same. The reason is because there is evidence that there was worship of Diana before like Rome, not necessarily before Rome or before the Hellenic influences on Rome, of the Hellenic influences on Rome when Rome conquered Greece. The reason we probably don't see a lot of pre-Hellenic influence Diana is because before then, Roman gods were not anthropomorphized. They didn't have mythology, they didn't have statues in the way that Greek religion had. So we don't have like images of Diana in the way that we do after she had some mixing with Artemis. So when we have Italic pre-Roman paganisms, specifically when we look at the Latins, we do have some worship of Diana, specifically in Nemi. Diana's temple, at the beginning they organized in a league of independent cities, having its center in Diana's temple in the Aurici in the sacred wood of Nemi, guarded by the Rex and Amorensis. Having language and religious practices in common, Latin cities entered into federations that were more religious than politic, whose members gathered during some festivals, and I lost my page. But I have never considered Diana and Artemis the same goddess. Diana's first epithet would be Trivia, which is oftentimes conflated with Hecate because it's also an epithet of Hecate. But she has many other epithets, including Diana Nemorensis, Diana Nemi, or Diana of the Wood, where she was not only kind of mixed with Artemis, but a local woodland goddess, Italian woodland goddess. We have Diana Triformis, Diana of the Moon, Diana of the Wood, and Diana of the Underworld. Trivia I mentioned. We also have a possibility that that local woodland goddess at Nemi could have just been a part of Diana. Her name was Egeria or Ageria. Not quite sure. There's debate over that on whether they are the two separate things or the same. Egeria was a nymph. She was often worshipped alongside Egeria, but it's a question of, are they two aspects of the same being? We don't know. A few other epithets. We have Diana of Noba or Diana of Nuba, where she was kind of conflated and syncretized with a Gaulish goddess. We have Diana Juno, or where she had the aspect of her that was related to fertility and motherhood got conflated with Juno, the Roman goddess of motherhood and marriage. So depending on the needs of the individual, different people would invoke different aspects of Diana for assistance. The reason I don't consider them the same goddess is because even though Diana adopted a lot of Artemis's traits, she still existed before Artemis. She still was a Roman goddess before Artemis, and she also has a lot of links to local Italian goddesses. that would be separate from Artemis, where she may have originated from. Trivia, which is her earliest epithet, has no significance whatsoever, leaning into Artemis. And she also is really important in Italian folk magic. Her more Reconstructionist texts, she's important in Italian folk magic. I know a lot of individuals who work with Diana in their folk practice, and they work with Diana as a goddess who spans many other regions. Her epithets kind of are everywhere. The links to certain goddesses back to Diana is insane. So in my practice, I see Diana as that main goddess with the links to other goddesses, whereas someone may look at Hecate or Hecate and say, oh, Diana links back to Hecate. I see Hecate leading back to Diana. It's all about kind of personalized practice. For me, Diana is the goddess that I work with. The difficult thing with Diana is a lot of the historical references we have look at her as part of Artemis. A lot of times when you're looking up Diana as a goddess, we get limited information because a lot of it is like, well, Diana at Ephesus, who was also Artemis at Ephesus. It's really only a couple texts that we see that consider them the same. And I get the treating them the same. I personally don't believe they are the same. Whether history agrees with me or not, or historians agree with me or not, is to each their own. But I think that within different societies, we have goddesses and gods that were created within different cultural contexts, and Diana absorbed certain parts of Artemis in the same way that she absorbed certain parts of Italian goddesses. Oh, you found your toy! Good! And absorbed parts of Juno and parts of these other things. She's a big old goddess that was conflated with a lot of other deities. And I don't think that changes the fact that she is her own goddess. That is important. We do have some Reconstructionist texts that were created, circled around Diana. Aradia, the Gospel of the Witches is one. Hey, don't touch the power outlet. Aradia, Gospel of the Witches is one, where we see her with, Lucifer and Aradia, and the idea that Diana comes from the void with Lucifer. Are you pooping? Really? While I'm filming? Can you hear her? Diana has also had some... Are you done? There's some connections that are drawn between Diana and saints. So for those of us who see Diana as the goddess, let's say it's not necessarily the only goddess, but almost in the eyes of how some people would see a mother goddess. For those of us who see Diana as a goddess who is a goddess and other things are linking to her, we see her sometimes links drawn between her and Saint Rita because of their association with bees. That can also be Artemis, because of Artemis at Ephesus. And personally, I also see her connected with Saint Mary. This is more of my unverified personal gnosis, in my opinion, is that Mary and Diana are two sides of the same coin. Diana is often linked to the Mater Batuta, which is a mother goddess in Italian, paganism folklore. And because of that, we see her ruling over motherhood. We see her ruling over fertility. Oh, well, she's hanging out with Diana's altar. I see, we see the assumption of Mary being very close to Nemeralia, Diana's festival at the Lake of Nemi. We see similar kind of things with them, I guess. Similar things they rule over. Diana, goddess of motherhood, fertility, wood, the forest hunting, and as well as that, we see her ruling over some level of vengeance, especially in her Mythulacteon. And Saint Mary, Mother of God, Mother of Jesus Christ, very much represents motherhood, fertility, and she also represents vengeance in a way, because like her son was crucified. How would you not be angry? There's a lot of similarities that I personally have drawn between Mary and Diana, and the other reason I treat them the same is because Diana shows up for me after I make her association with, like, I make an association with Saint Mary being a patron saint of my family. She's been here for generations. She's been very big in my family, and after I order a Saint Mary medallion to honor Mary, it gets back ordered for months until I realize that I am supposed to be working with Diana, and then the Saint Mary amulet shows up. For me, it was confirmation that Saint Mary, while her own separate being with cultural contexts within Christianity, is also, to me, a part of Diana, just as Diana is a part of Saint Mary. Both kind of the idea of virginal and chaste relationships, and, you know, some, stop eating that. So that's my opinion on Diana. I work with different, I try to work with all of the epithets of Diana. There's a couple that I don't work with because they were very specific to region. Like Diana Tifitina or Diana Tifita was at Mount Tifita. Diana of Nuba was a region in which the Gaulish of Noba and Diana were like put together. But my work with Diana Namorensis, Diana Luciferta, Diana Triformis, Trivia, Igeria, De Corvicia, and her as part of the Mater Matuta, or the Mother Goddess. And I can give more information on Mater Matuta as well. She's an indigenous Latin goddess who the Romans eventually made equivalent to the Dawn goddess Aurora and the Greek goddess Eos. The reason we see Diana linked to her a little bit, she was a goddess of the ripening of grain, but the Latin poet Lucretius made her goddess of dawn. Protectors of fertility and birth. Because of Diana's kind of links to fertility and motherhood, she can be linked to the Mater Matuta. Also, similar imagery has been found in the Mater Matuta as Diana. And although they made her equivalent to Aurora and Eos, that element of the dawn and the celestial is something that Diana would have ruled over. We see Diana as a goddess of the moon, but before then she was Diana, goddess of the stars, celestial goddess. She wasn't just the moon, she was everything in the sky. Those are my opinions on Diana. They are my opinions. And they are based off of the research. Come here, come on. The research I have done, as well as the connections I have made within my practice to my family, to my ancestors, to other people's practices. I'm certainly not the only one to consider Diana and Artemis separate, and I'm certainly not the only one to consider Diana and Saint Mary two sides of the same coin. I know a lot of Italian folk practitioners who see Diana, Cybele, Saint Mary as very similar deities, and it's one of those things where Diana is she's a Roman goddess, but she's also really important to Italian American folk practitioners and Italian folk practitioners. Hi, baby. Hi, the baby. Come on up. Come here. Psst, psst, psst. She literally wants nothing to do with me right now, which is fine, but I would just want her love and affection. So Diana came to me, when I was taking a class called Awakening the Witch at Cat and Cauldron in Salt Lake City. I was doing virtual stuff. And the way that she came to me, are you coming up? Come on. Good girl. The way that she came to me was through my teacher, and he was just like, hey, by the way, there's a really big chance that Diana is going to be the only goddess you work with at some point. And I originally never considered Diana. Partially because, I don't know, no one had ever told me to look in that direction. But also, I was still in a place where I wasn't fully in the Italian folk practice like I am now. And so that's when she showed up, and I began my worship of her that night. I set up a space for her, and there were a few things that I had connected, that the dots had been connected in a few ways. When I set up her space, I had already had a statue of her. Why, you say? Because I had won a giveaway with a friend for a statue that I had considered to be a statue of Artemis. I had originally... I had originally gotten it as a statue for Artemis, but the statue was originally for this person was for them to be working with Diana. It said that the statue, or the way that it was going with the pendulum or the giveaway, is it would only go to my name. It wouldn't go to anyone else. And I was surprised because I felt bad because I stopped working with Artemis, and then I just had this statue of Artemis. So I kept it around. I put it in a place where it would be honored because I've always loved the concept of Artemis as a deity. And then that night when I was told, oh, you're probably gonna be working with Diana only at some point in your practice, I had the dogs sleep with me. I had the moon, the full moon, come and hit my bed, like directly where I was laying, hit me in the face. And I heard an owl hooting that night. Man. Ugh. Anyways, to me that was confirmation from her, and then slowly my St. Mary pendant arrived. So Diana was a goddess who my mom had some interactions with, and then before then it was St. Mary. So me and my mother are the first generations who see her as Diana rather than St. Mary. And that is something. It is something. By default, I mean, if St. Mary is associated with Diana, then Juno, or Diana's mother, would be associated with St. Anne, the mother of St. Mary. But overall, that was part of it, and then the part that I already had a statue that I just was keeping around, and the part that many other Italian folk practitioners have Diana in their practice in a very big way. Like, very big. Like, she is very important to a lot of us because of, I don't even know, just alongside some other Roman or Hellenic goddesses that we see worshipped throughout Italy, Diana was the one where, like, she's big. She's big for us. Who fucking knows why? She just likes all of us. She's like, hey buddy, mine. Since kind of beginning my devotion to Diana and working with her, which I didn't really have a choice in, it was just kind of like, this is your goddess. She's had a chokehold on my path. Even when I'm working with other deities, I'm not working with them, I am studying them and doing archetypal work. So I'm looking at what they represent in their myths. I'm looking at how they have been translated to the modern day, how they were represented historically. With Persephone, I am looking at her and who she represents as a goddess, rather than actually doing one-on-one work with the goddess. Because Diana is really the only one that I am very hands-on with. Everyone else, I get to worship Hades and I honor Bucephalus, but Diana is really the one who's like, hey. And for pagan gods, that is it with her. I do work with animal spirits, plant spirits, some saints, and my ancestors, but that practice kind of flows very fluidly. They all kind of work together. And because I honor both St. Mary and Diana, I don't just honor one. St. Mary has a place on my ancestor altar and I do prayers to her. My ancestors seem to be happy. My work with Diana is gonna last for the rest of my life. She's not leaving. She waited 22 years for me to notice she was around. And then she said, I'm here, and no one else. But she has very much solidified my path as an Italian folk practitioner, an Italian American folk practitioner. And my bond with my ancestors, my bond with the land, my work as an animist, my work as a folk witch. She is the one who guided me fully here. I don't think I ever would have fully gotten to the point where I was like, I'm gonna be an Italian folk practitioner. I probably would have just sat around and assumed that I was like an eclectic witch. I would have never dove as deep as I did into my ancestry and into these practices and really kind of brought it into my own already existing practice without Diana. And I wouldn't have found Diana without my teacher, Austin. If you're watching this, Austin, I love you. But yeah, I mean, working with her is very much It's a lot because the limited information mixed with the fact that she's just this very spanning worldly goddess. Like, she has her little paws in different epithets and different areas of life all over. Hunting, motherhood, fertility, you know, it's like there's just everywhere. And her kind of Reconstructionist worship is something that I haven't super dove into yet, mostly because I've been reading, you know, Ovid and mythologies and hymns to her. I haven't dove as heavily into the Reconstructionist worship of Diana in terms of like Diana in the Aradia, Diana in Dianic Wicca. I haven't been super in there. I'm sure that I'm interested in to see the way that Diana has made their way into different worships. But yeah, she's interesting to work with, and she has a chokehold on my path, as my mentors say, like a chokehold. I'm not going anywhere. But she is the one who I am going to continue to be learning from, and I don't even feel like I'm ever going to stop learning from her as a goddess. But it's an exciting part of my path, and it's an exciting goddess to worship. But yeah, I hope that answers some of the questions that I've been given about Diana. If people want particular resources, let me know in the comments below. My camera is about to die, so it's time that I wrap this up. Next week, we got a spell walkthrough coming through. If you have questions about my Italian folk practice, Diana, book recs, etc., leave a comment down below. If you want, you can subscribe, like, turn the bell on, but no pressure, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. Sa benedica.